Ooh, fuck. That was the first test of this, which is great. What's happening, Insane? How you doing, man? How you doing, man? I saw you hop in here. We about to do some crazy and whacked clips. We're recording this for YouTube as well. That's the new intro for YouTube. Make my life a lot more easier. I installed it. Moms, welcome in. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Oh, fuck. I am... Okay, there. You can probably hear me now. I was talking into the abyss. Okay. That was the first ever, like, animated stuff, you know, that we just did. And then we got the black screen of death real quick. The black screen of death is always great. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. 1 second, please. Please. The black screen of death will be out of my way. It just has to take its time because I don't have a transition screen. It's a more complicated thing, and we'll get onto the cringe here in a second. It's a lovely time. Oh, this is gonna be a lovely time. The black screen of death while I work things out. Hold on. I gotta bring some things up that I forgot to bring up before stream. And no, scene. There we go. We are back! Finally! Okay. Black screen of death will be going away here shortly. I got both of the twins discharged, so making a long trip back home Saturday. Very proud of Mama. Good stuff to hear. Glad to hear it. How is everybody? We're gonna do how it's made because I can't find the reaction clips in this anymore. In which I saw Doritos, so we going for Doritos, chat. We going for the Doritos. Why is there no sound?
Casa Grande.
Oh, I know why there's no sound. I know why there's no sound. Maybe because I don't have my headphones on. I'm being a dumbass.
Grande, Arizona.
Okay, we're going to restart this.
There's a factory in Casa Grande, Arizona that processes 1.2 million pounds of corn every single day and turns it into the most addictive snack food on earth. The Doritos production.
Why do you have to whisper in there? You're like, come here, little baby mama, let me whisper in here, let me whisper in here. I don't need to hear this shit. Talk like a normal person.
Line runs 24 hours a day.
Those aren't Doritos.
Producing 180,000 chips per minute. And the process that transforms plain corn into a chip so engineered for addiction.
I used to watch this show all the time. My parents think I'm weird. I love how it's made.
Maximum dopamine release in your brain. What you're about to see is how industrial food science creates.
So those guys are in heaven in the background. And those guys are photoshopped in. And that guy's sitting right there on the couch. She looks pretty comfortable. And she looks like she's doing some, like, 2-page book handling over there. Is this all AI? That's the real question. No. Look at the bag of chips where it says Dorito flows. This is all AI. I can't trust this shit. At least it got... Yeah, no, it's AI. The wording. It got the Doritos right. The symbol's not right. Where did Doritos make a yellow bag? Where did Doritos make a yellow bag, y'all?
Product so optimized for overconsumption that the average American eats 3.6 pounds of Doritos per year without even realizing it. Here's the full process from raw corn to the chip you can't stop eating. It starts with whole kernel corn, but not the corn you eat. This is industrial feed corn that's been genetically selected for maximum starch content. Each kernel is 73% starch by weight, compared to 60% for regular corn. That extra starch is critical because starch is what creates the structure that holds the flavor chemicals you're actually addicted to. The corn arrives in rail cars carrying 200,000 pounds at a time.
That don't even look real. It looks like real footage, but that don't even look out. That don't even look real there, fam. Why is it wonking to the left?
It gets dumped into giant hoppers.
Oh,
and
did
then
I fucking
sent
skip ahead?
for chemicals you're active.
No, I skipped back. No, I skipped
Or
ahead.
something called nixtamalization happens. The corn kernels get cooked at 200 degrees Fahrenheit in a calcium hydroxide solution for 90 minutes. Here's why this matters. The calcium hydroxide is literally lye, the same chemical used to make soap. It breaks down the outer hull of the corn kernel and gelatinizes the starch inside. This process removes the corn flavor almost completely, which is exactly what Frito-Lay wants. They don't want you tasting corn. They want a blank slate that can carry flavor chemicals. After cooking, the corn sits for 12 hours in what's called steep time. The kernels absorb water and swell.
Here's the critical step of the step. Go to Walmart, buy you a big bag of Doritos, and then open the bag, put one in your mouth, and eat it. That's how you get Doritos.
To triple their original size. The hull loosens and the
I wanna
inside
make a
turns
soda
into a
on it.
paste-like consistency. At this point, it barely resembles corn anymore. Gelatinized starch matrix ready to be transformed. The cooked corn moves to washing tanks where jets of water blast off the loosened hulls and the calcium hydroxide solution. Then it goes into industrial stone grinders that are the size of cars. These grinders pulverize the corn into masa, which is the technical term for corn dough. The grinding happens in stages. First grind gets the texture down to coarse meal. Second grind makes it finer. Third grind creates a paste so smooth that individual corn particles are under 100 microns. For reference,
Damn, they got this in a silence. Why does that look like a paste? That look... Ooh. Why is there hair there? Why? Nasty. Nasty.
that's
Really
thinner than
nasty.
human hair. The masa at this point looks like wet concrete and has the consistency of thick cake batter. But here's where it gets engineered. The masa isn't just corn anymore. Frito-Lay
It's all
adds
AI.
vegetable oil directly into the grinder at 3% by weight. This pre-fats the masa so the chips will absorb less oil during frying, which saves money and creates a specific texture. They also
Money.
add calcium and other minerals to adjust the pH to exactly 6.8, which is the
This has to be one of the worst AI documentaries I've ever seen. 8.ai comma. Yeah, you could go suck that.
optimal level for the next stage. The masa gets
Why does this look like... oh my god, you're gonna hate me when I say this. Why does that look like milk? That just looks like a tub of milk. The chunky milk.
pumped into holding tanks where it's constantly agitated to prevent separation. The temperature is held at exactly 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Too cold, and it
That's a
thickens.
4?
Too hot, and the starches break down.
That looks like a
further.
9, buddy.
Everything in this factory is controlled within margins of less than 2 degrees.
Oh my
and
god,
monitored
that's
by
the most
computers. The
intelligent.
masa flows
I'm
onto
gonna
massive
criticize
sheeting
this
rollers
video from
that
now
are
on out
54 inches
because
wide
it's all
and
AI.
moving at 60 miles per hour.
There might be some real clips
These
in here.
rollers squeeze
but-
the masa into a continuous sheet that's exactly 1.2 millimeters thick. The tolerance is plus or minus 0.05
That's
millimeters. That
brother,
precision is
brother.
critical
What are you
because
doing?
chips that are too thick
That's
won't
fucking.
cook properly,
Oh my
and
god,
chips that are too thin will burn. The sheet moves on a conveyor under an array of cutting dies.
I just
These
want to
dies
slam
are
my
hydraulic
head
stamps
into a
that
waffle
punch
maker.
out the triangle shapes at a rate of 180,000 per minute. The triangles
I
are
don't think that's how it
isosceles with
works.
60-degree angles at the base, which testing showed is the optimal shape for scooping dips and stacking in bags without excessive breakage.
What type
But
of dip? What type of dip is that muddy
isosceles
gray
with
shit? Hold on.
60-degree angles at the base, which testing showed
What type of dip is that? That looked like someone put a jaw up to the butthole and just took a shit in it. Unless it's bean dip, then, you know, you got my condolences there. Bean dip is fucking a baller. But still, who fucking does that shit?
is the optimal shape for scooping dips and stacking in bags without excessive breakage. But here's the waste they don't talk about. The cutting process generates scrap masa from the areas between triangles. This accounts for about 18% of the total masa. It gets collected, reground, and fed back into the system. But it can only be recycled once because the starch structure degrades with repeated processing. After that, it's sold as animal feed. The cut triangles drop onto a second conveyor belt that's perforated
I don't
with
believe
thousands
this
of small
shit.
holes. This is the drying conveyor, and it's moving through an oven that's 40 feet long.
AI detected. 300. What's that? What's that? Oh. That's a 4. All these numbers are scrambled. That looks like it's gibberish. That looks like it's gibberish.
Exactly 300 degrees
Man, you can't
Fahrenheit.
afford a
The
fucking
chips
film
spend
team
90
going here.
seconds
SEMTTUNESOANTLMS. What the fuck is this? And
in this oven, and during that time, their moisture content drops from 55% to 25%. They're not cooked yet. This is just moisture removal to prepare them for frying. The partially dried triangles drop into a continuous fryer that's basically a river of vegetable oil flowing at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. The oil is a specific blend of corn, canola, and sunflower oil mixed to have a smoke point of 450 degrees and a
how dumb are you? 450. It's at the bottom. So it'd be 460, 470, 480, 500, not 450, 410, 430, 500, 450, 450. This is all AI generated. I want to say this: if you're that broke, just go film the factory itself. My God. My God. Oh my God.
specific fatty acid
And this is
profile. This blend costs Frito-Lay 35 cents more per gallon than generic frying oil but creates a flavor and texture that testing proved consumers prefer.
this is
The
not
chips spend
how it's
exactly
made.
12 seconds in the fryer. The remaining moisture inside the chip flashes to steam and creates thousands of tiny bubbles in the starch matrix. This is what creates the porous structure that makes Doritos simultaneous.
What poor structure? Okay, we're fucking done with this shit. We're done with this shit because I don't know what to say there. That these are all AIs. Oh, that one might be. That was how it's made, but it's not the actual how it's made channel. The How It's Made channel is something else. This is all AI. I could see it. I could see it. Hold on. No, I better not show the channel. It's literally called How It's Made. Yeah. You type in how it's fucking made, and it brings up the old videos of how it's made. Ooh, that looks like a good one. Modern Marvel World's Biggest Machines, episode 11 through 4, season 4. That looks great.
Americans like to think that they own the junk
Okay, back to you. All right.
food game. After all, America has given the world Spam, pickled pig's feet, and even deep-fried butter. But it turns out the
Did I just hear pickled pig's feet?
Americans like to think that they own the junk food game. After all, America has given the world Spam, pickled pig's feet, and even deep-fried butter. But it turns out the rest of the world is just as into abominable food concoctions that sound almost good enough to eat. They're just not as loud and proud about it as America is. Today, we're discussing some of the strangest items found at American fast food chains all over the world. But before we scour the earth for some potential culinary crimes, why not subscribe to the Weird History Food channel? And leave us a comment letting us know what other mind-boggling menu items you'd like to hear about next. Okay, time to sink our teeth into some, tasty treats? Yeah, let's go with tasty. Wait. Don't close out of the video just yet. It may
Nutella
seem like we're coming out of the gates swinging.
Nutella burger. What type of bread though? If it's like a donut type bread, yes. If it's like a hamburger bun type bread, no.
With McDonald's Nutella burger, but allow us to explain. Well, your first reaction may be a mixture of confusion, revulsion, and, let's face it, joy. We're happy to tell you that beef, onions, pickles, and condiments have nothing to do with this burger. So you can rest assured that McDonald's is not sanctioning a chocolate hazelnut spread on a slab of meat, yet. Instead, the burger is removed completely from the equation and replaced with the smooth, hazelnutty goodness of Nutella. And apparently, it's really tasty. The sandwich, called Sweetie con Nutella, was released in 2016 and is only available in Italy, where Nutella was born. More of a dessert burger, or desserger,
I was
the Sweetie
asleep.
con Nutella
Well, you're
has
just
been
joining
gobbled up
in.
by many excited Italians since its inception.
Oh,
While
this,
it is
yeah.
not the healthiest
I couldn't
thing to
watch
get
the
from
Dorito one
McDonald's,
because it was all
nobody
fucking
goes to
AI.
McDonald's for health food. And the snack is about as popular as Nutella, which is to say, people go totally nuts for it. Or should that be, they go hazelnuts for it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait. You know what I found out earlier today? During the Artemis 2 launch, when they were like on screen, a Nutella bottle floated by. It floated by. It was by accident or something. It floated by everybody, and Nutella came out as like bringing joy or something to from a million miles away or something. Look it up. It's great. It's fucking hilarious.
That felt good. While it seems pretty cocky to name your French fries world-famous fries, it is hard to argue that McDonald's best-selling items are the most famous fried spuds on the planet. But it may surprise you to learn that in Italy, you can opt out of fries altogether and instead request a nice old hunk of Parmesan cheese. That's right, Italy's most sought-after side dish to the McDonald's burger is not the French fry, nor the onion ring. It is the Snack al Parmigiano, a small block of pure Parmigiano Reggiano cheese in a handy pouch. Dubbed the pocket cheese, this tasty and sort of healthy alternative to fries is available upon request for anyone feeling cheesy enough to try it. Oh yeah, that one landed too. Pizza.
Who gonna eat a fucking cheese? I love Parmesan. But if I sit down to have a hamburger, I'm gonna have fucking fries with that bitch. Not fucking Parmesan cheese. My God. That has to be the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I'll try it.
Has seen its fair share of toppings over the years. From old standards like extra cheese and pepperoni to more unusual fare like pineapple and jalapeno, we're always looking for something new to toss onto a
God
pizza.
damn, this food
But
makes
there
me
is a
hungry and I
menu
have to
item
say
that
it.
turns the whole paradigm upside down by leaving the toppings where they are and instead makes its changes from the bottom up. Meet the Chizza, a portmanteau of pizza and chicken. That will make sense in a second. Now, pizza and chicken are hardly strangers.
I got the new buffalo chicken pizza from Pizza Hut.
Both buffalo and barbecue
How you doing, baby? You wanna come over to my crib?
chicken are popular pizza toppings that steadily increase in popularity the more drunk you and your friends are while ordering. But Kentucky Fried Chicken locations in Singapore
You can bring the pizza to me. Oh, come on. Come on over here.
and Saudi Arabia came up with a new way of wetting chicken to za. Instead of traditional pizza dough, a flattened piece of fried chicken is used as the crust. Then toppings such as marinara and mozzarella are added to create a menu item that would knock the double down out in the first
sounds
round.
baller
Like a
as
seldom talked
fuck,
about
and I
cousin of
want to
chicken
try it.
parmesan, the Chizza differs by using other common pizza toppings such as pineapple chunks and ham.
That sounds
So
baller
more
as
like a
fuck.
cousin who refuses to stop
Wanna
wearing
try it right
Tommy
now. Give it to
Bahama
me.
shirts.
DoorDash
Around
that
here,
shit to
we
me
call that a
right now. I want it in my mouth. I want it in my mouth. I want to gobble it all down. No regrets on saying that line.
hero. We'll stay in
Okay.
Singapore for this next one because, if you can believe it, there is still stranger pizza to be had there. The Pizza Huts in Singapore carry a reputation for exquisite and fantastical pizzas. But much like a menu item designed by rapper and TV star Exhibit, the pizza we're talking about features a pizza inside a pizza. Pizception. The double sensation pizza seems like the kind of innovation only America could dream up. But make no mistake, it's a Singapore exclusive. Here's how the pizza works. Much like Pizza Hut's stuffed crust pizza, the double sensation has a crust jam-packed with assorted cheeses on a typical supreme pizza. However, as you make
Let me say this to you all. I absolutely despise stuffed crust pizza. I can't stand it. No, sir. I will gag like a $2 whore. And it's that way.
your way down the slice, you are treated
But
to a
let
second
me
pizza
say this.
halfway through the first, complete with its own
This
crust
kind of
full
sounds
cheese and
mullet too.
sausage.
I would definitely
Finally, as
try.
you make your way to the center of the pie, you're greeted with a final level of toppings featuring a red stemmed cherry. Yeah, a cherry. Just like the movie Inception, the double
could you?
sensation pizza does everything
I just
it
don't
can
know.
to
I gag
prevent
really
you from
hard if
guessing
there's
how it
cheese
ends.
in like
And
the
after
crust.
putting one away, you're still
I just
sitting
wanna
there
throw
like
up
a
afterwards.
profusely sweaty Dom Cobb, telling yourself you need to go even deeper. Maybe order two and pile them on top of each other. You know what they say, the seaweed is always greener in somebody else's cake. Maybe we have that wrong. But it is a saying that rings true for anyone who has ever been to a Dunkin' Donuts in China. Walk into any Dunkin' Donuts in Shanghai and you can find donuts with glaze icing or chocolate sauce, or if you're feeling frisky, dried pork and seaweed. Sometimes called the pork floss donut, the confection gives exactly what it promises: crumbles of pork floss and sprinkles of dried seaweed. See, you can use the pork floss to get the seaweed sprinkles out of your teeth. If you think those
Ew.
flavors might clash with the classic taste of the donut, do not fret. The actual donut composition is slightly different from the standard treat. It's made with yeast and with much less sugar. The end result is more of a small, savory breakfast meal than it is a sweet on-the-go snack. No word if
Okay.
there's an accompanying cup of porkweed coffee. Pumpkin spice season comes but once a year for several months.
That's terrible.
To capitalize on this fall frenzy, Japanese McDonald's locations found a way to incorporate the spice to their menus. Now, chocolate-covered fries are already a staple on Japanese menus.
I've been to Japan, and Japanese McDonald's is fucking baller, and no one can ever change my mind about that. Japanese McDonald's is fucking baller because they sell macaroons at their fucking McDonald's, and they also sell like a late night menu, which is only a European thing. And let me say that I only ate there twice in my stay there. And that shit was fucking baller. And I mean baller to the hard. Like, balls swinging, nuts hanging. They did a banger of a fucking job doing that shit. Love the Japanese people. Love you all.
Use year-round, because of course they are, and we demand to know when those are making their way to the States. McDonald's decided to balance the saltiness and the sweet to perfection by adding pumpkin spice to the mix. Dubbed the Halloween Choco Potato Fries, the side dish is served on a tray and drizzled with chocolate and pumpkin sauces. Apparently, the treat is extremely tasty and has garnered many positive reviews. So much
I'd
so
try
that
it.
the Choco Potato Fries have reappeared on Japanese menus every October for the past several years.
I'd definitely try it. But it's like this. It's like the same thing eating fries with a fucking milkshake. You never try it. Give it a try. Take a fry. Don't dip it in the milkshake. Take your swig of your milkshake and then fucking eat a fry afterwards. The salt mixes with it. It tastes great.
It's the perfect spooky treat to pair with that terrifying clown
No,
always
yes.
hanging around that place. While we're snacking in Japan, it seems important that we stop by Burger King as well, so we can introduce you to the Kuro burgers. Kuro literally means black, something that should become obvious the second someone plops this burger noir in front of you.
Why is it black?
That's because the bun and the cheese of the burger are both jet black, like the sandwich has been moonlighting as a chimney
Oh
sweep
my
in the 19th
God.
century. This tall, dark, and handsome burger is made by charring the burger bun black. Squid ink is then added to further darken the bun until it resembles an Imperial probe droid. If that's not enough, the cheese is cooked with bamboo charcoal, so each slice comes out as black as the bun. The remaining ingredients are left their natural color, giving the whole shebang an eye-catching look. These dusky delights were so eye-catching that it started a small feud
I never
between
got.
Japanese
Okay. There was. When we were in Tokyo, we never found a Burger King. We only found like a bunch of McDonald's. We never found a Burger King in there. So I don't know where the fucking Burger King is at. I'd like to fucking know. I would never eat this in a million years. That looks nasty as fuck. But the cheese.
McDonald's and Burger King. Each chain had their own black burger, with McDonald's upping the ante by launching an all-white burger. Taco Bell is not afraid to change up their recipe.
Did I read that right? Did I read that right? Did I just read that was a Kit Kat quesadilla? One thing you should know. I really love Kit Kats. And this is gonna hurt me when I fucking watch the rest of this because it said Kit Kat quesadilla. I'm pretty sure that's what it said.
From time to time, especially with a humble quesadilla. Bells in the Philippines stuff their quesadillas with Cheetos. South Korean Taco Bells throw in a little kimchi. And Taco Bell Finland crams a heaping helping of barbecue pork in with the melted cheese. But UK Taco Bell saw all these wacky mashups and said, hold my sauce. Not to be outdone in the crazy quesadilla game, they invented the Kit Kat Chocodilla, a chocolatey version of the standard quesadilla we've all come to know and love. The treat is made by melting entire Kit Kat bars and chocolate chips between Taco Bell's
Why
usual
are you
flour
doing this
tortillas.
horrendous thing
And
to my
that's
Kit
it.
Kats?
No beef, salsa, nor cheese need apply. The result is a tasty quesadilla-style snack with a satisfying Kit Kat crunch, like a desertadilla. Taco Bell
I
seems
would-
to have conquered the salty versus sweet combination, and fans couldn't be happier. The treat is so successful, in fact, that it has expanded its reach to
No.
the U.S. and is
No,
currently
I will
available
not
in the
answer
Midwest,
that.
where you can grab the Kit Kat or Twix version. Anybody up for a road trip?
No.
When their ice cream machine isn't broken, you can spend a hot summer day enjoying McDonald's ice cream sundaes.
This video is going to kill me.
Traditionally, these frozen treats come in classic chocolate, buttery caramel, and sweet strawberry. But if those flavors seem a bit tired and mild to you, just hop on a plane and head over to Hong Kong, where you can enjoy McDonald's Tabasco Fudge Sundae. Yeah, you heard that right. Tabasco and ice
That
cream
sounds
together at last,
horrendous and
on
disgusting.
purpose. Tabasco and McDonald's got together for a collaboration a few years back, with the expectation being that McDonald's would combine their time-honored burgers and sandwiches with Tabasco sauce. And the idea worked. Kind of. Instead of the expected Tabasco-filled burgers and Tabasco-garnished fries making the cut, the long-shot Tabasco sundae wound up stealing the show. Unlike the traditional chocolate sundaes at McDonald's, the Tabasco is not drizzled on top, but rather blended right into the ice cream, putting an inescapably fiery spin on the classic dessert. Like a prank, but
No. 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 Okay. No. Why would you put the... Oh, no, my God. Why would you put Tabasco with ice cream? Whose bright idea was it to put Tabasco in ice cream? I want to find out who this motherfucker is so I can bitch slap this motherfucker like a pimp. Seriously. Ice cream is supposed to be refreshing and cold and delicious. Not this shit of being, we're gonna put a little Tabasco in it, you know? Put a little Tabasco in it. Yeah, right there. No, we're gonna put a little bit more in there. Yeah, I'm just gonna mix it in real nice for you. Here you go, sir. Here you go. Here.
would play on your younger brother. The coolness of the ice cream mixed with the spicy sauce quickly became a fan favorite. If you want to send your taste buds on the most confusing ride of their lives, we know a little place in Hong
No,
Kong
thank you.
you should try.
No, thank you.
Back when Windows 7 launched in 2009, Microsoft wanted to promote it with
7
something tangible you
Whoppers.
could hold in your
The
hand.
7
Like a
Whopper.
window, or,
I
barring that, a
need
big-ass
this burger
We're talking,
now.
of course, about the short-lived Windows
God
7 Whopper
damn.
from Burger King. A sandwich so comically large you needed considerable meat hooks of your own just to handle it. It wasn't that much different from the classic Whopper, with 7 crucial differences. Instead of 1 patty, this Sammy had 7. In essence, it was just a gigantic hamburger. Outside of the
Brother,
number
I
7,
need
it had
this right
absolutely
now.
nothing
I
to
need
do
to
with
shove it
Windows
in my
7, Except for the
face.
fact that both products were extremely difficult to eat. Honestly, it would probably be easier to eat
Why
a copy
is
of
he
Windows
trying
7
to
than
eat
to
a
hork
computer
down this
program?
monstrosity. As part of a tie-in with
I
Burger
don't try to
King,
eat my computer
Microsoft
screen.
introduced the structurally unsound meat snack to its customers in Japan. The
God
reviews
damn.
poured in, and most were pretty lukewarm. The taste was not great, and the meal was an expensive $15. But much of the attempt...
What year? That kind of okay. If it was Windows, Windows 7, right? Okay, I'm gonna be a baller, and we're gonna ask someone for a favor. I'm gonna ring my phone. Hey Siri, when was Windows 7 launched?
Windows 7 is March
2009. $17 for 2009 for 7 meat patties? That's a fucking deal. You buy that, you take that home with you, You distributed them out on a piece of buns. You set a buns with it, and you just place that meat on there. You can take that shit to work every day for you. The Great Recession too, when shit was a lot more cheaper too.
Focused on just how much meat
I
you were
was-
forcing on yourself with each bite. We're sweating just looking at that thing. On top
Oh,
of that,
fuck.
there were
I
only
was
enough
6
veggies
years
to
old.
cover the topmost patty, and there was absolutely no
6-year-old.
cheese, which I believe is against
No,
the law.
6.
The dripping
Oh,
grease from
09.
all that meat
No,
overwhelmed
09.
any other
I
flavors
was-
and soaked
oh,
the
fuck,
whole
I was
thing
8.
into a mushy heap. This turned the Windows
I was
7
8
burger
years
from a
old.
flashy, overpriced but appealing gimmick into a convoluted mess with a tendency to self-implode.
Just fuck the burger.
Kind of like Windows
Oh,
7.
yeah.
Now the promotion
God, that
makes sense.
man.
The promotion only lasted for 1 week, but we're still holding out hope that Burger King will release an update to upgrade it to the Whopper 10 or Whopper 11. So what do you
Brother,
think? Which one of these menu items would you...
imagine pulling up and be like, hey, I want a Whopper that has 10 patties on that bitch. I wonder what they would look like at the drive-thru window with like, hi, sir. How may I take your order today? Yeah, I would like a number 5 large with 10 meat patties on it. Okay, sir. Please pull the front window. Just stares at you the whole entire time like you're not a fat ass. I swear to God, man. That's how it is. How are you going to consume that? How are you going to consume that? Oh my God. Oh. Oh.
People who
I'm hard. I saw Lunchables. I'm having a great time over here.
grew
Don't
up
worry
in the
about me.
1990s may feel nostalgic about
Okay,
Surge,
900
Shark
pounds.
Bites, and other discontinued foods from the era. And of course, those of a
I
certain
hope
age
this is not too
will
loud.
remember Zima, the clear malt beverage that was a huge
I don't know what this fucking
hit
is.
when it debuted in 1993. But it wasn't long before Zima became a pop culture punchline.
You should go back to your strip malls and drink your Zimas and Smirnoff Ices.
Today, we're opening up the history of Zima's epic rise and swift tumble into hazy, nostalgic memories. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel.
Never had
After
it.
that, leave us a comment and let us know what other food or beverage-related
Zima.
topics you would like to hear about. Now, let's plunge into the cooler for a clearer look at Zima.
Crystal Pepsi.
Natural health trends of the 1980s led companies in the early 90s to begin producing clear products and marketing them as pure and more natural than, say, juice or artificially colored beverages. Crystal Pepsi was one of the first clear products, debuting in 1992 with a commercial featuring Van Halen, or Van Hagar if we're being honest about it. At least it wasn't Van Sharon. Although it graced the shelves for only about a year, it inspired dozens of other companies to jump on the clear trend, leading to colorless versions of everything from
Head
ivory
bop over here,
dishwashing
don't worry
liquid
about
to
it.
men in deodorant. Before the eventual decline of clear products, Coors took a swing at the fad with the creation of Zima in 1994. The company bottled its
Coors.
products in clear glass bottles, with fancy ribbed sides to market the drink as beer's classier cousin. Miller Brewing Company, then a rival of Coors, tried to compete by launching Clear Beer, but the venture flopped. Coors believed Miller's failure was a result of having beer in the name of its product, and tried to sell Zima as a beer alternative instead, though it visibly
I thought this was a sports drink, and then when he said beer, I thought like, oh God, this is gonna be great. Is this gonna be the Smirnoff of Smirnoff?
resembles both. Zima was neither grain alcohol nor water, but a carbonated clear malt beverage. So one might ask, how was Zima made? Instead of rebranding or reformulating an old product with a new flavor, Coors created Zima through a method of its own invention. Using low-grade lager as a base and filtering it through charcoal, the process removed the beer's amber color. but it also stripped away the taste. Coors tried to get around this by pepping it up with citrus flavorings, ultimately creating a beverage with a 4.7% alcohol content. The flavor, however, turned out to be a problem for consumers.
It's terrible! Nobody drink the beer! The beer has gone bad!
The responses of several Reddit users when asked about the Zima experience suggested why the product didn't last very long. They compared the taste of Zima to lemonade filtered through aluminum foil, citrus-flavored horse piss, and a mixture of Sprite, grain alcohol, and balls. Citrus-flavored horse piss. Just like Mom used to make.
Ew. No. Zero. There would be no way in hell.
During the 1980s, somewhat health-conscious consumers
Now we
preferred
flex,
wine coolers over
and
drinks
now
with
we
heavier
don't.
alcohol content.
Yeah,
And
look
by
at
the
these
early grungy
guns.
90s, rapidly declining beer sales forced producers to add some fizz to their marketing. Coors' new, clear, citrus-flavored carbonated malt beverage seemed primed to take advantage of the increasing popularity of wine coolers. So the company turned to lexicon branding to name its creation. The firm came up with the Zima, which means winter in Russian. Russian winters. Yeah, cool. Now that it had a unique communist name, Coors aimed to market its product to men who wanted something other than beer but more masculine than a wine cooler. Coors gave specific instructions to liquor stores to make Zima stand out and went out of its way to avoid...
Oh my god. It's cool. Oh my god. I'm so dumb. One of my favorite beer companies did this shit.
any association with those vile wine
Yeah, I drink
coolers.
Coors.
Coors even went so far as to ask stores to keep Zima displays away from the wine
I don't have
coolers.
any
Male
with me.
drinkers, the line of thinking was, considered wine coolers a female-oriented beverage and would shun Zima if they thought it was just another frou-frou drink. Television commercials depicted men enjoying Zima in bars while relishing the experience as something different. Oh, that's clever. Coors spent millions on advertising in its bid to attract young men to the product. Unfortunately,
Fat
men also
Redditors,
decided
that's
to
terrible.
drink something different after
Fat
tasting
Redditors,
Zima.
that's
Aside from
terrible.
its taste,
Crystal
apparently
Pepsi
men
was
didn't
goated.
consider it manly enough.
I never
so
tried
guys
it.
were not keen on Zima. But you know who
Wine
were?
is good.
Women.
Wine is good.
Despite the manly marketing barrage,
Brother,
lots of young women
I
developed
have
a
a
taste for
fucking
the drink.
bottle. There's a bottle at my grandmother's house, which is set up. It's a 1968 wine bottle. It has been in like a wine cellar all of its life. Now that shit will get you fucked up or killed. Either one of the way.
Became Zima's biggest market. Much of the attraction was that the drink contained a reasonable amount of alcohol, but wasn't as heavy as beer. Once women became Zima's primary demographic, it wasn't only the taste that drove men to consume
Why
other
does that look
alcoholic
like a man?
beverages. They saw Zima as a drink designed for women, exactly the opposite of what Coors was trying to accomplish. Coors spent $38 million to promote Zima during its debut in 1994. In addition to a video series and video game, Coors launched one of the first websites to advertise a food product and create a
drinks. What the
community
fuck is
around
a
it.
foo-foo
Cheers to you,
drink?
Tribe Z. The company also made a series of memorable television commercials that featured uniquely stylish personalities, instead of the mainstream attractive people commonly used in booze advertising at the time. These efforts paid off, and Zima became an instant success. According to Coors, about 70% of legal-aged drinkers tried Zima in 1994. The company sold 1.3 million barrels that year alone. But despite the massive marketing effort behind it, Zima obviously wasn't as tasty as its advertising led many drinkers to believe, and consumers turned elsewhere. While Coors initially believed that its clarity would make Zima trendy, the lack of color also appealed to some unintended fans, underage drinkers. Zima quickly attracted the attention of teens since it resembled water and could be easily hidden. And of course, teens will drink anything they can get their hands on. Teens also liked that the drink didn't smell like alcohol, because
I could say that as a fact. I wish not to go anything further than that without my lawyer present. Thank you very much. We will get back to the video.
teens don't know what taste is. Many drinkers enhanced the taste of the product by adding flavored schnapps or Jolly Ranchers, further enticing underage palates. Rumors circulated that Zima would not register on a breathalyzer, alarming parents and the brand's parent company.
You do?
Officials in 10 states sent a letter to Coors accusing it of purposely marketing Zima to young people. In response,
I don't know
the
what you're
company
talking about there,
created a
fam.
video
I
showing
never
a
said
police officer
anything.
consuming
My
several
lawyer
bottles of
will be
Zima
on his
before
way.
taking a breathalyzer, proving the alcohol would indeed register because Zima contained alcohol, not magic. Coors also sent letters to school superintendents and police chiefs in which they claimed Zima, like any alcohol beverage, contains ethanol, the ingredient that registers in any breathalyzer test. Zima is still detectable despite its clear profile.
And HR, yeah. Still
Coors struggled to help
reformulating.
Zima stay afloat for several years after its initial release in 1994. New television commercials were created featuring Zima drinkers engaging in manly activities like football. But the product's enduring reputation prevented it from gaining popularity. That Zima became a recurring punchline for David Letterman certainly didn't help. In 1995, Coors went for the Hail Mary and changed its formula, introducing Zima Gold. It had a higher alcohol content and a caramel urine coloring, and tasted more like a mixture of Coke and bourbon. But drinkers did not go for it, and it was pulled from
Coke and bourbon. I haven't had a good Coke and bourbon in a while.
shelves only 3 months later due to a lack of sales. Even so, Coors refused to completely give up on Zima. After the failure of Zima Gold, the company tried marketing the product as an ideal way to quench thirst on hot days, and reformulated it to taste like Sprite. By 2004, competition from the always pleasant Smirnoff Ice led Coors to create a more intense product called Zima XXX, which came in a variety of extreme flavors and had a higher alcohol content. Ultimately, Zima was unable to duplicate its early brief success. Sales continued to dwindle for the next 2 years. Although Zima may have enjoyed a long and prosperous life with a niche following, laws in 2 states ended up dooming the drink. In
Smoked
2008,
bourbon-
Utah passed a
smoked
law
bourbon with
requiring
apple,
all
add
alternative
Coke and
drinks
honey.
to use all caps and
That's just
bold
fire.
font to
I
label their
bet.
alcohol content on packaging. Coors, now merged with Miller as Miller Coors, hesitated, as printing labels to be used on products sold only in one state would be expensive and time-consuming. The end result was Zima being pulled from shelves in Utah altogether. That same year, California raised the tax rate that the company would be required to pay for Zima by treating it as a distilled spirit, not a beer. The state believed doing so would discourage underage drinking, as minors may not have the cash to afford the price hike. With the new problems introduced by the California law in mind, the company decided that Zima was more trouble than it was worth, and discontinued the product.
Just a girl. I'll fuck you up. Oh, yeah.
While consumers can no
JK.
longer find Zima on
Yeah,
American
uh-huh.
shelves, the product never left stores in Japan. In fact, outside of special limited releases, Japan is now the only place in the world where Zima is sold in stores, bars, and nightclubs. The product has been embraced not just by Japanese drinkers, but by the company's original intent.
Next time I go, I'm definitely trying it.
Intended market, men.
And
Finally,
I'll come back. I will come back to this video and I will give you a review of it.
we're selling booze to men. Hallelujah. As of 2014, men in their 20s reportedly consumed Zima each month at more than twice the rate of women. Since the product never left Japanese shelves, nostalgia isn't responsible for its success. According to Molson Coors Japan brand manager Kyoko Okochi, the popularity of Zima in Japan is instead due to a different marketing approach. While American drinkers were tempted with ads featuring young men who wanted to be different, Japanese consumers were shown commercials featuring scantily clad women and a famous actor urging them to be cool and popular. Japanese Zima also benefited from local flavors. In addition to the
Yeah.
original product, drinkers in Japan can try a pink cherry blossom flavored Zima. After years of trying and failing to get men to drink Zima, Coors swallowed its pride and accepted women drinkers as Zima's primary audience. In 2007, the company reformulated Zima once again, introducing a variety of fruity flavors. In order to better attract young women, the company lowered the alcohol content and advertised the new Zima's low-calorie
Suck
content.
it,
At this
Dev.
point,
You're now
Coors
Tracy Morgan.
realized
No.
Zima would never match its initial
You
success.
keep on saying I'm Tracy
So
Morgan,
it tried
but I'm
to build
not.
the beverage as a niche product. Though this strategy worked for a while, Coors discontinued Zima in America only a year later. Nostalgia kept Zima in many consumers' minds, however, and re-releases proved people would buy it, even if they joked about drinking it. So, why do people still remember Zima? Nostalgia can be powerful, so it's probably no surprise that Zima was brought back for a limited release in the summer of 2017. It was such a hit, in fact, that Miller Coors decided to do the same thing the following year. Speaking about the 2018 re-release, senior marketing manager Delaney Fernando said, "Everyone needs to try Zima once. It's a novelty. And for most people, apparently, once is enough." While Zima may no longer be around in the US, it is a precursor of many of the beer alternatives available today. Coors may not have attracted the market it wanted, but it did prove consumers had an interest in non-beer malt beverages. Other brewers noticed this open market and began creating their own alternatives, including Bacardi Silver, Mike's Hard Lemonade, Smirnoff Ice, and White Claw.
I've never drunk White Claw or Barbarian Silver. I want to try Mike's Lemonade, but I've drunk a lot of Smirnoff. I love Smirnoff.
Malternatives have been largely
More sister
marketed
now,
towards
nope.
young, trendy people
I don't
and
know
have
what you're
gained
talking about.
popularity at clubs and parties, and of course, among pranksters. Pizza, pizza, pizza. No, that's not a misquote of our favorite mid-90s pizza mascot, Little Caesar. It's our way of remembering that period of time when more meant more in the pizza industry. More slices, more toppings, and more cheese. More! Never was that more apparent than in
Kylo Ren.
the early 90s,
I
when
love
America's
fucking-
three biggest
I love
pizza
Star Wars.
chains launched outsized campaigns for their mega-sized pies. Today on Weird History Food, we're talking about the giant pizza war of the 1990s. Okay,
There was a
grab a
war
napkin and a plate and put down that
about
fork.
pizza?
Come on, who eats a pizza with a fork?
We all know that pizza was created in Italy, so that's where it's the best. Suck my balls. You cannot stop me from saying this. Pizza was made in Italy. Or Italian, or France, or wherever the fuck it was made. That's where the best of the pies came from, okay? That's why fucking New York has the best pies in the country. Unless you go over to Europe.
The year was 1993. Bill Clinton was playing saxophone
Never
in the
drunk
White
one.
House. Jurassic Park was tearing up the box office. And in pizza kitchens across the country, a piping hot or your money back war was being waged. In the early 1990s, the combined might of Pizza Hut, Domino's, and Little Caesars accounted for a whopping 48% of the pie of America's pizza industry. Each chain had sliced out its own slice of notoriety. And
So it was all on one side. It was all on one side of the country. So California, half of Texas, all that stuff was on one side of the country in the 90s. Remember that, folks. Ohio didn't have Pizza Hut, Little Caesars, or Domino's Pizza. None of that. It's kind of crazy. Why is there no...
so deliciously buttery Pizza Hut. With its signature red booths, arcade games, and pleasant dine-in experience, Pizza Hut offered a family-friendly alternative to the pickup counter. Meanwhile, Domino's had sliced itself as the best delivery option, with its mad dash of drivers running red lights to get you your za in 30
I don't like Domino's. I fucking hate it. I hate that state that Domino's took. No, I wasn't born in Ohio.
minutes or less, or it was free.
Wise man say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Perhaps not coincidentally, this was the same year the Domino's guarantee went bye-bye, after the company was forced to pay a St. Louis woman $78 million in damages. turns out that forcing teenagers to race at breakneck speeds or risk losing their wages wasn't the smartest idea, as the woman suffered injuries when the teen delivery driver ran a red light and struck her car. Ouch. Then there was Little Caesars. Little Caesars didn't have dine-in locations or a delivery fleet. If you wanted Little Caesars, you'd have to use your cordless telephone. Call them, and then drive your own vehicle to the store and pick up your own order. How barbaric. Life was tremendously difficult before DoorDash. You had to get your own takeout, just like the pioneers. So how did Little Caesars set itself apart from its rivals? By offering more, of course. Starting in 1974, Little Caesars sold their pizzas in pairs, which is where that catchy "Pizza Pizza" slogan comes from.
Pizza, pizza.
While most of the time, Little Caesars couldn't offer you the dine-in experience of a Pizza Hut, or daredevil drivers willing to risk life and limb so you could spill piping hot sauce down your new work shirt while watching Roseanne.
I remember when Little Caesars was fucking walk-in and you had to order all that shit. I remember that. And that's kind of crazy just to think it wasn't like, oh, you could call and they'll deliver. You had to walk in and get it.
They could offer you a good pizza value. To this day, Little Caesars remains the cheapest pizza franchise in town, with a large pepperoni costing only $6
But I'm not that old. Don't think that. I'm not that old.
in 2022. It's hard to pass up that bargain every day. For decades, a kind of pizza détente had existed
I
between the
fucking
big
hate-
three, with each company
I
ruling
fucking
over
hate
its
Domino's.
zesty fiefdom
I
and
can't
relative
stand
peace
the
and
way that
harmony.
company
But
went.
then, Little Caesars made its move, marking a turning point when the mutually respective coexistence of the three pizza chains gave way to open hostilities. All it took was Little Caesars taking the next logical step in its value offensive, and it all started with a simple question. What if, instead of just offering two normal-sized pizzas, they could offer you two humongous pizzas? Double the cheese, double the pepperoni, double the depth, double the chance of a massive heart attack. Yes, 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 and yes. Probably earned it, but don't call that a Chicago-style pizza. Little Caesars Big Cheese, emphasis on the exclamation marks, was the Detroit-style pizza, a less bready counterpart to the Chicago-style deep dish pie. The Big Cheese was a resounding success, and Little Caesars sales soared by 54%, as America gobbled them up like Americans eating anything ever. Non-pizza items also benefited from a nice little bump from the Big Cheese. 1993 was the year that Little Caesars introduced the world to the spaghetti bucket, which was exactly how it sounds and tastes.
Little Caesars had a spaghetti bucket? Man, we missing out! You could have called and got spaghetti? Bruh. I would pay good money for that. Brother in Christ. They had spaghetti back in the day. Now they don't. I'm kind of sad now. I love Little Caesars. But they got rid of the spaghetti, man.
After years of ranking third in the pizza triumvirate, Little Caesars' Big Cheese gimmick looked like it might finally put them ahead of Domino's. But the Big Cheese, which, not to split hairs, was a pepperoni pizza, was about to face some stiff competition for its greasy crown. Pizza Hut could see this Little Caesar gaining ground in its rear view. The number one pizza restaurant had a choice: either ignore the underdog or copy it pretty much exactly. The Hut chose to et tu brute Little Caesars, and America was introduced to the Bigfoot Pizza, a massive 12 by 24 inch, 21 slice rectangle for only $11. Yes, it was 1 foot wide and 2 feet long. By the way, the same genius marketing team went on to come up with the idea for stuffed crust several years later. No one really remembers how the Bigfoot tasted, but anyone who survived the Great Pizza Wars remembers how aggressively Pizza Hut advertised it, spending millions on television, newspaper, magazine, and billboard ads featuring a smiling, cryptic mascot in a green tank top. Only Crystal Pepsi could compete with the sheer amount of media saturation.
Hello, Pizza Hut delivery.
free?
Yes, we've got Crystal Pepsi.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't have Crystal Pepsi. This is Domino's.
Incidentally, both Pepsi and Pizza
As
Hut
a
were
kid.
owned by the same
I
parent
bet.
company. Giant multinational corporations. And if the brand's first ever national product campaign wasn't enough, Pizza Hut got really adventurous and leased a $4 million blimp to fly over cities with a cartoon Bigfoot and Pizza Hut's logo. But Pizza Hut was trying to fly too close to the sun, because on July 4th, 1993, the Bigfoot pizza blimp crashed into the roof of an apartment building on the west side of Manhattan, injuring 2 crew members. Honestly, it might have been the most important 4th of July celebration in the nation's history. The chain's vice president said at the time that while the situation was unfortunate, it did succeed in heightening brand awareness. Might want to keep that thought to yourself, bud.
I don't believe you just said that.
For Pizza Hut, there was no such thing as bad press, only big and Bigfootier press. So the Bigfoot marketing juggernaut slothed along. TV ads parodying Bigfoot sightings ran on every channel, one of which featured a pre-Sixth Sense Haley Joel Osment. The new ads for the Bigfoot took direct aim at the competition, causing Little Caesars to come up with their own TV spot, in which a monster truck with the brand's logo runs over a much smaller monster truck, while 2 old ladies look on. The ad claimed the Big Cheese to be larger than Pizza Hut's offering. We're no big city pizza lawyers here at Weird History Food, but that claim was mostly.
So hear me out. Those were 2 wheels. Where's the other side of the fucking monster truck?
False. The Bigfoot competition, causing Little Caesars to come up with their own TV spot, in which a monster truck with the brand's
There's no
logo
other
runs over a
wheels.
much smaller monster truck, while 2 old ladies look
There's
on.
no other
The ad
wheels.
claims
There's
the
only
Big
one
Cheese
set of
to be
wheels.
larger than Pizza Hut's
So
offering.
the
We're no
bipedal
big city
bike-
pizza lawyers here at Weird History Food, but that claim was mostly false.
That just
The
caught me
Bigfoot was
off guard. I'm
objectively
sitting there
larger,
like,
although
oh.
Big Cheese had more slices, and more importantly, it was also heavier. The Big Cheese tipped
Why
the
is
scales at 4
Bigfoot over
pounds
here
after they piled on
orifying for real?
Bigfoot was objectively larger.
Why is he orifying, chat? Like, really? This man's orifying with Little Caesars over here.
Larger. Although Big Cheese had more slices, and more importantly, it was also heavier. The Big Cheese tipped the scales at 4 pounds after they piled on all that pepperoni and cheese. That looks so good. Despite Little Caesars' best efforts and Pizza Hut's blimp fiasco, the Bigfoot was a huge success. Pounds after they piled on all that pepperoni and cheese. That looks so
Is that what I
good.
thought it was?
Despite Little Caesars' best efforts and Pizza Hut's blimp.
That's an older photo. I would say that's not the Bigfoot crashing, which they showed. And I would say that's the blimp from World War II. I can't think what the fuck it's called that exploded and killed all those people.
Fiasco, the Bigfoot was a huge success. Company sales skyrocketed to $5.7 billion across 9,800 locations in 1993. Possibly because customers were scared that if they
The
didn't pay
Hindenburg,
tribute,
yes.
the giant pizza monster blimp might come.
I'm
for
a
them,
very
too.
big history buff.
You never want to be the last to a pizza war, and you certainly don't want to be the least equipped either. Unfortunately, the Dominator was both. Domino's debuted its Giga Pizza only a few weeks after the Bigfoot arrived to challenge the Big Cheese. There was a lot riding on its success, since Domino's was the only one of the big 3 pizza families whose earnings had been down for the last several years. In a mad dash to bake the competition, Domino's pizza scientists defied the laws of nature and created a monster known as the Dominator, the hands-down winner in the dough measuring contest. It was the largest and, thanks to its shape, the girthiest pizza on the market. And who doesn't want a girthy slice of pizza? But there was a fatal flaw in its design that caused the Dominator to end the pizza wars with a deafening faceplant. In the mad dash to respond to Pizza Hut and Little Caesars, no one had stopped to ask whether there was a reason that the competition had gone with a rectangular deep dish rather than a dino-sized discus. Until the first Dominator was sent on delivery, where it was discovered the Dominator was too wide to fit into the driver's car. Having never factored in sizing, Domino's quickly realized it could only offer its gargantuan pizza pie via carryout, as they made pizza larger than their delivery driver's doors. The Domino's really fell, as their
So up home, I'm going to say this. Up home, we have this place. and you call in. I'm not gonna state the place because I don't know what want someone to show up here. So there's this place up here, and you pay $24. The last time I saw it was like $24, and you get a pizza about this big. Hold on, let me scooch out. About that big. And it's called, and about that thick. And it's called a wall pizza. It's literally called a wall pizza. And it's really fucking amazing. For $24, it is worth every fucking dime. Every fucking dime. Yeah. No, it's worth every fucking dime. It has great bread, great crust, every fucking thing. And it's a mom and pop shop too.
Trademark speedy delivery couldn't be applied to their new signature product. Pizza Hut had overwhelmed Domino's with its multi-million-dollar ad campaign weeks before launch. Now Domino's delivered its own death blow to the Dominator, as customers used to having their pizza delivered were forced to get in their car to pick it up themselves. And a Domino's pizza you have to pick up yourself was basically worthless. And since Domino's delivery drivers were piloting the same size vehicles as everyone else on the road, customers who ordered a Dominator for takeout quickly found that the behemoth wouldn't fit into their cars either. Maybe if they tied it to the luggage rack or had a big enough trunk. But who wants trunk pizza? Well, any kind of pizza is actually pretty good.
Was it that big? My
it only
God,
took
man.
a few years for the giant pizza fad to fade. All three behemoths, the Big Cheese, the Bigfoot, and the Dominator, are now long gone. Mere footnotes in the history of American fast food. And in the dust following the giant pizza wars, Little Caesars nearly collapsed. From 1998 to 2001, hundreds of Little Caesars locations closed. It got so bad that Little Caesars stopped reporting store counts from 1999 to 2005. In recent years, Little Caesars has been able to claw its way back to bronze in the national pizza list. But compared to its former rivals, it has less than half of the gross sales as the #1 contender. Pizza Hut, the once gold standard of greasy pizza delight, has fallen to second place after cycling out the Bigfoot in favor of bigger, bolder menu items.
Papa
It took
John,
some
Papa
trial
John,
and
Papa
error,
John,
but
Papa
eventually
John.
a woman named Patty Scheibmeyer from Pizza Hut's product development focus group was struck by divine inspiration. What if they put cheese inside the crust? It was just crazy enough to work. The stuffed crust pizza is still on Pizza Hut's menu today, one of the only pizza innovations to endure across the decades. Ironically, it's the former also-ran Domino's who now rules the pizza empire. While Pizza Hut focused on the gimmicks and Little Caesar floundered on its definition of value, Domino's went back to doing what it did best, delivering
Yours has a
pizzas
challenge
and
if
trying
you
not to
need.
get anyone killed
No,
in the
no,
process.
it does
In
not.
2008, Domino's released the Pizza
It's just a
Tracker,
pizza that
which
you can
allowed
buy.
customers
It's
to
for
use the
large
internet on
events
their
and stuff.
phones or computers
It
to
costs
see
you like
exactly how
20
far
bucks,
along their delivery
22
was.
bucks.
There's been a
Last
debate
time
about
we
whether
got
the
it.
tracker actually worked or if it was just set on a timer. But who really cares?
Pizza time.
The illusion of control and a visual timer tickled customers' brains more than double-stuffed cheese bread or buckets of spaghetti. Arguably, Postmates and Uber Eats owe a lot to Domino's Tracker and its early adoption of the food delivery surveillance novelty app. In 2018, Domino's finally overtook Pizza Hut in sales. As a victory lap, Domino's has subsequently resurrected the Dominator label for pizzas in territories like Bangladesh and Pakistan. These aren't the monstrosities of the 1990s, though. Dominator is now just a catchy name for a normal-sized pizza. So in a sense, the Dominator lives on, which is more than can be said for its dearly departed competitors. R.I.P. Bigfoot and Big Cheese. May they rest comfortably in their enormous pizza box graves. As much as these franchises paid in ad dollars for our attention,
Oh,
one
shit.
timeless adage never occurred to them. Americans' eyes were bigger than our stomachs. At the end of the day, most people would rather have a better pizza, even if there is less of it to go around. Or we're just feeling really, really lazy.
If you were a 90s kid, then odds are you've had a Lunchable or two in your day. The prepackaged snack food, which invites kids to assemble their own sorta meals from a variety of fun ingredients, was the lunchtime treat for a generation of kids. Whose parents believed they were providing a healthier option to processed junk food. But where did these mealtime miracles come from? And just how good for us were they? Well, today, we're assembling the stacked up history of Lunchables. Okay, this one is full of baloney, but in a good way.
57 minutes. Bologna. You can fight me on the wording, but it's Bologna, not baloney. Bologna.
Stacked up history of Lunchables. Okay, this one is full of baloney, but in a good way.
Bologna. I want to watch the. We're gonna finish off on. We're gonna finish the Lunchables, and then we'll fucking watch this other video. Do Bologna then next.
Thanks to One Meat Processor, we all know our bologna has a first and last name.
B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
The Oscar Mayer jingle has become as much a part of American culture as the national anthem or the Pledge of Allegiance. But while people loved singing about the proper spelling of their bologna's name, by the 1980s, they weren't too high on bologna itself. Consumer habits were trending in the direction of healthier food, and bologna, as it turns out, is kind of terrible for you. Sales stagnated along with other lunch meats, and the marketing department at Oscar Mayer went to DEFCON 1. At the time, one of the company's new hires, Dr. Roddy Hawkins, was looking to make an impression. Inspired by the success of Kraft's Cheese and Crackers product, which came with a little plastic red wand that allowed consumers to spread the cheese and the crackers themselves, Hawkins proposed the concept for the product that would become Lunchables.
That's how you spell it.
But Hawkins was really just an idea man. So the concept was then developed by a team that included Bob Drain, Deborah Gianrusso, Jeff James, and Tom Bailey. To stress that it was really a meal, the team decided to put the product in a tray that resembled a TV dinner. They kicked around quite a few names for their revolutionary new product, including mini meals, lunch kits, cracker witches, entrees, walk meals, go packs, square meals, fun meals with a Z, snackables, and
I can't fucking say it with a straight face because I think it's fucking hilarious how it's
is
spelled.
objectively the best name, they went with Lunchables.
No, it's not bologna, it's Bologna. You get mad at me for saying that, you could go suck a
You'd
thumb.
think Lunchables were to be squarely aimed at children, but you would be wrong. During development, focus groups revealed that Americans were working longer hours and were increasingly having trouble finding time to do things, like make lunch for themselves. And to the folks at Oscar Mayer, the solution was Lunchables. But not surprisingly, hungry adults weren't super excited about building a series of tiny sandwiches on crackers.
I wouldn't say you could go suck a... Talk! No, wait. Let me rephrase that. You could politely go suck a dick.
On the other hand, were a different story. Turns out the youngins were actually pretty excited about the idea of assembling their own lunch sandwiches. Hey, kids like building things. Just look at how many parents Fortnite has bankrupted. Market research also showed that kids were much more likely to experiment with flavor variations, like the now famous Pizza Lunchable.
Lunchables pizza.
Finally, pizza.
As a bonus, research also showed that parents enjoyed giving Lunchables to their kids and thought of it like a present that could be delightfully unwrapped, a marketing angle the company would lean into in its product design. It was win-win-win for parents, kids, and the Oscar Mayer Corporation. And from there on out, Lunchables were for kids. Of course, adults scooping up the interactive lunchtime treat wasn't discouraged. According to the company, somewhere in the neighborhood of a quarter to a third of Lunchables are consumed by adults. Never underestimate the power of prepackaged meals. Also, nothing works up an appetite like assembling your meal like a pile of Legos. When Roddy Hawkins pitched his idea for Lunchables to the higher-ups at Oscar Mayer, he demonstrated his confidence in the proposed product by telling them they didn't even have to pay him a salary if they would just give him 1% of the money Lunchables was going to make. Hawkins was joking, but he probably wished he hadn't been after he saw exactly how much money Lunchables turned out to make. Lunchables were test marketed in Seattle, Washington in 1988, and those tests went so well, the product went national the following year. After that, they were an instant hit, selling over $200 million worth of product in just their first year on supermarket shelves. And things only got bigger from there.
I wish I had that much.
50% of consumers that tried Lunchables came back for more. Even Hawkins was surprised, later reflecting, "I never dreamed it would be a big product line as it is today. I just knew it could be successfully done." It wouldn't be long until Lunchables were a ubiquitous sight in schools and on playgrounds across.
I remember we used to trade Lunchables at school. I had a couple friends would be like, "Hey, you want to trade because I always used to get the pizza ones, and he's like, "Hey, you want to trade?" And I was like, "No, stick to your own. I ain't trading. I will fight you over my Lunchables." It was great back then. Simpler times. Death, when are you selling? The fuck did I just read?
Across America.
I'm gonna get back to the video. I'm not gonna state what.
So, remember
what
how
she
the
just
whole
said.
idea of Lunchables was to essentially
gonna
trick
ignore the
people into
chat
buying
for a
unhealthy
while,
foods
so,
that weren't selling? Well, big surprise, but as a result, Lunchables weren't all that nutritious. And it wasn't just the bologna, which, incidentally, according to the USDA, isn't so much meat as it is a paste-like and batter-like poultry product produced by forcing bones with attached edible tissue through a sieve or similar device under high pressure to separate bone from the edible tissue, just like Ma used to make. On top of that, to save costs, Lunchables came packaged with processed cheese. And to extend shelf life, the crackers were butter crackers. In other words, pretty much every ingredient in Lunchables was the most unhealthy version of that particular food possible in terms of calories, fat, and sodium. Like each ingredient fell into a vat of deliciousness, like a snack food joker. In fact, it was so bad that the CEO of Oscar Mayer's parent company once joked that the healthiest ingredient in Lunchables was the napkin. And to those of you who just asked, what napkin? Ironically, the napkin was later removed to save money. Speaking of cost-cutting, there isn't a 90s kid alive who doesn't get a little teary-eyed thinking about the red plastic stick in Pizza Lunchables. What the heck are we talking about? Well, when they were first introduced, Pizza Lunchables came packaged with a short red plastic stick that was included to help kids spread the pizza sauce on the crust. But in the early aughts, the red stick mysteriously vanished. Disgruntled consumers threatened revolution, but it did no good. Despite a number of petitions, the stick, which was a
It came with a stick? You motherfuckers. You tightwads. I remember having to get my own fucking spoon and spread that shit out. And you took that away from us? Shame.
of cost-cutting, like the napkin, was gone for good. And if you're wondering how kids were supposed to spread their sauce on the crust without the stick, the answer is Oscar Mayer didn't know, and Oscar Mayer didn't care. And to be honest, even when we had the stick, most of us just used our fingers anyway. By 1994, after Lunchables had blown up even more in popularity, a prominent pediatric cardiologist tried warning people that they were a, quote, nutritional disaster. Oscar Mayer responded with sarcasm, saying, "There are very few kids out there who will eat rice cakes and tofu." If the cardiologist had a comeback to that, we don't know, because he was presumably pelted to death with Lunchables hurled by hungry children. In all fairness, Oscar Mayer has made several attempts
This man got roasted.
to make Lunchables healthier. For example, at one point they attempted to add carrots and apple slices, but the new ingredients would quickly go bad in the container, and variations that replaced the candy with things like yogurt or fruit simply didn't sell. The free market has spoken, and it doesn't want tofu and rice cakes. Anyone who hasn't been permanently banned from the grocery store for the past 40 years is probably familiar with the standard Lunchables and the legendary Pizza Lunchables. But those two were just the tip of the iceberg. Alternate Lunchables configurations include things like extra cheesy pizza, ham and cheddar with vanilla cream cookies, turkey cheddar and crackers, and turkey and American cracker stackers with double stuffed Oreo cookies. Noteworthy variations from Lunchables past include things like mini burgers, which included 2 small burgers, mustard, a Capri Sun, and some Reese's Pieces. You didn't have to heat up the burgers, but people didn't exactly rave about their taste. Turns out room temperature burgers are a tough sell. There were also Lunchables waffles, which included waffle sticks, syrup, icing, sausage, orange juice, and a cereal bar. It sounds like enough glorious sugar to power any kid through an entire school day, but based on reviews, it didn't quite stack up. Lunchables mini tacos came with tortillas, beef, cheese, taco sauce, a drink, and Nerds candies. And there was an Italian-style chicken variety, which was basically just cold chicken nuggets with marinara sauce and mozzarella cheese. We're veering dangerously into airplane food territory over here, Oscar Mayer. And of course, the popularity of the Lunchables name led to some experimentation with spin-off products. Can't leave money stacked up on the table like so many cracker sandwiches. For example, there were Lunchables Fun Stacks, which included things like s'mores, fudge brownie, marshmallow crispy squares, Chips Ahoy soft cookie and frosting, and Oreo cookies and frosting. We have to admit, cookies and frosting do sound fun. In 2017, the world bought nearly $1.4 billion worth of Lunchables, which is enough to make anyone consider a career in lunch meat. These days, there are about 40 different types available. Popular varieties include chicken pizza, ham and cheddar cracker stackers, pepperoni and mozzarella with crackers, pizza and treatza, mini hot dogs, and ham and American cracker stackers. And just in case there remains any doubt that Oscar Mayer has completely moved on from trying to make the brand nutritious, there are also Lunchables Dunkables. These snacks include varieties like pretzel twists with peanut butter spread and choco chips, as well as matzo sticks with marinara and breadcrumbs. If that doesn't sound bad enough for your waistline, we recommend Lunchables Grilled Cheesies, which sounds like a joke but are all too real. They also come in 2 flavors, original and pepperoni pizza sandwich. And then there's Lunchables Uploaded, which are basically the same thing as regular Lunchables, but with bigger portions, different package art, and a name that sounds like one of the Matrix sequels. In 2023, Oscar Mayer managed to get Lunchables, their fun but admittedly unhealthy line of junk food, approved as an option for school lunch menus across America. If you're wondering how they pulled that off, according to the Washington Post, the weak standards that govern federally subsidized school lunches illustrate the power of the food industry in Congress and the outsized influence of food companies. Higher ingredient costs.
But Lunchables are nutritious for you. We don't care that they're fucking substitutes and deadly toxins in it. We just want the fucking Lunchables. Yes, I post most of the clips on YouTube.
Costs, labor shortages, and tighter budgets have backed many schools into a corner. As a result, executives at Oscar Mayer's parent company have estimated the educational food services market to be an untapped opportunity worth $25 billion. So far, there are 2 varieties available, turkey and cheddar cracker stackers and extra cheesy pizza. And in all fairness, the Lunchables they're selling to schools aren't the same ones you get in the supermarket. They've been reformulated to meet federal guidelines about what can be served at schools, so they are technically healthier than regular Lunchables. Long story short, they have a higher protein content, but a lot more sodium. As you can probably imagine, childhood nutrition advocates and many teachers do not agree with the decision to make Lunchables available in school cafeterias. But do we really need to bring up the rice and tofu example again? Until health food starts coming in fun packaging, featuring a mascot riding a skateboard, kids are gonna go with Lunchables every time.
Terrible.
And that's the way the
I remember
Oreo
the
cookies
fucking
and frosting
platypus
crumble.
and the
If
fucking
the essence of the
jackrabbit.
mid-1990s could be distilled into a can, it would surely
Surge. I think they still sell that shit, don't they?
be a can of
I've never had
Surge, the flyest drink of that bygone era. Some may remember it for
Alright, we're getting off this fucking stuff. We're gonna watch the final video and then we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap it up. The Lunchables? Fucking baller. I love the shit out of them. As a kid, I used to eat that shit daily. Maybe that's why I'm so fucking chunky. Yeah. Look at the gun show. Yeah. But you know, you get the gist. I love Lunchables. Most of those foods were baller. Zim, I don't fucking know about that. I'm kind of upset that Coles made that fucking decision to pull that trigger. Gun shows more like stick shows. What do you mean? That's fucking muscle right there. Right there, yeah. Look at that motherfucker. Pure. Yeah, just fucking pure. Now there's a little fat on here, but there's not much. Yeah, look at the fucking thickness of my fucking arm, man. If I'd start weightlifting, I'd be a motherfucker. Alright, let's find the last one. I've already watched that one. By the way, we're doing fuck, what's it called? Android stream Saturday at 6. Which one are you talking about? You're built like General. Hold on. Spell that. What do you mean? I'm not built like this man. There ain't no way I'm built like this man. I ain't that fucking fat. I ain't that fucking fat, okay? No. No, I ain't that fucking fat. I ain't that fucking fat, Chad. No, that's case aside. Love you, Case. Don't sue me, please. Alright, we are... I don't know which one you want me to watch, but we're gonna watch the fucking Sandwich Killer one because it looks baller. I've already seen... Alright. Oh, I clicked on it, and it's doing nothing. Oh, the Super Size Me? I've already watched it. I've already watched it, like, in real life. I haven't done it on stream. That's like an hour-long movie. Right? Like,
In 2000,
no, 11 minutes. You bastard. We're gonna watch this. I've watched the actual documentary itself.
2004, director Morgan Spurlock shocked the world by showing everyone quite how bad McDonald's food really is. In his non-fiction documentary film, Supersize Me, the movie examines the potential causes of the American obesity epidemic, centered around a gimmicky experiment, during which Spurlock eats nothing but Mickey D's food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to gauge the effect on the human body.
Look at how big that thing is.
However, while many of his broader points about the food industry are valid, it turns out the results of Spurlock's experiment may have been deliberately misleading. So, today, we're going to take a look at everything that was misleading about Supersize Me. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History
Brother, I want
Food
an extra-
channel.
I want an
After
extra
that, please leave a
large
comment
Sprite.
and let us know what other food-related movies you would like to hear about. Okay, fries are up. In 1987, the good people who run McDonald's, Ronald, Grimace, Hamburglar, and that whole crew, realized that they could make more money by selling customers slightly bigger portions. And sure enough, it was in the summer of that same year that America was introduced to the notion of supersizing their order. Basically, it just meant replacing the medium-sized fries and drink that came with a combo with their extra-large counterparts. But as it turns out, Americans really do believe size matters, and many were into it. Films like 1988's Who Framed Roger Rabbit and 1993's Jurassic Park were even promoted with special supersized combo meals. The term supersized...
Yeah, but today, shit keeps on getting smaller and smaller. It's kind of weird if you look, like, from 2001 onwards, all the food just keeps on getting smaller and smaller. It's kind of cray.
quickly entered the lexicon. And before anyone knew it, the idea was American as supersized mom, supersized Coke, and supersized apple pie. Then, in 2004, Spurlock came along with Supersize Me. The movie earned over $11 million at the domestic box office, which is still an astronomical sum for a non-fiction film. And whereas most documentaries are relegated to art houses, Super Size Me captured the interest of the nation at large, thanks to its intriguing premise. Spurlock ate nothing but McDonald's food, 3 times a day for a month.
A little bit of heaven.
Keeping track of its effect on his health and mood in the process. He even received an Oscar nomination for his efforts. Time, however, was not entirely kind to the movie. Super Size Me became controversial as claims about its veracity emerged. Some argued that it was biased or contained manipulated information. Others said Spurlock's point was automatically invalidated because no one eats McDonald's at every meal. And even though Spurlock consulted medical professionals to verify his progress and results, still other critics pointed out that he was basically just asking viewers to take his word about how he felt in the midst of all his unhealthy eating.
The thing is, I've started to have like some not chest pains, but like pressure.
And about what he was actually putting into his body. And as it turns out, they all might be right. In Super Size Me, Spurlock claims he consumed roughly 5,000 calories per day, which causes him to gain a whopping 25 pounds in just 1 month. He also says his cholesterol spiked through the roof, his liver was ravaged, and that he became depressed as a result. The implication, which Spurlock hammers with all the subtlety of the McDonald's scene in Mac and Me, is that it is unhealthy to eat fast food regularly. The only problem is, no one else has been able to replicate Spurlock's results. At the University of Linköping in Sweden, for example, a group of researchers who were determined to figure out the secret of being unhealthy tried to duplicate Spurlock's results. They recruited 7 healthy medical students in their early 20s to spend a month gorging on hamburgers, french fries, pizza, and other fast foods. But that's not all. They also asked participants to avoid exercising, even going so far as to issue them free bus passes so they wouldn't walk anywhere. Based on Spurlock's work, the experiment should have yielded some Super Size Me-like body horror, but instead, their results were notably different. Weight gain in the area of 5 to 15% above normal and decreased energy were common, yet none of the test subjects reported feeling depression. Similarly, their livers were not impacted the way Spurlock's allegedly was. Meanwhile, cholesterol levels were largely unchanged. Based on the results, one of the researchers speculated Spurlock's results might have been caused by switching from a deliberately low-energy vegan diet. As he points out in the film, Spurlock was dating a vegan chef at the time and specifically mentions eating a vegan meal with her once per day before starting his fast food experiment. It could have made his body even less capable of dealing with the greasy fried foods. Maybe.
That's terrible.
The supersized success and cultural impact of Super Size Me spawned a number of imitators and spoofs.
Right?
And perhaps the most notable example came from comedian and former health writer Tom Naughton, who made the 2009 documentary Fathead. To challenge the findings in Spurlock's film, Naughton set out to lose weight on a fast food diet and recorded the results. His diet in the film is 50% fat intake, but he strategically plans his meals. In the process, he attempts to not only mock Spurlock, but also to correct what he sees as inaccurate information.
But when I've discussed the merits of Super Size Me with my friends and associates, I've noticed a curious pattern. Almost everyone who really likes that movie shares a
I like this man. He's a fucking baller. I gotta say this. This man's a fucking baller right now. He's dissing on this man. This is before all the dissing, all this shit.
common and dearly held belief.
Unlike Spurlock, Naughton's blood pressure stayed the same. He also lost weight and body fat, and his cholesterol even dropped a little. In fact, the only negative effect Naughton could find was that his HDL, the so-called good cholesterol, dropped too. However, according to Naughton, that wasn't from the saturated fat, but was the result of eating foods fried in trans fats, which were supposed to be the safe alternative to saturated fats. And when he tried another diet experiment later, living on a very high amount of saturated fat with no trans fats, his HDL shot up higher than ever, and he felt great.
Yeah, I feel great. If I thought I was having a heart attack or something, I probably wouldn't bother setting up a camera.
It was all rigged.
You probably assumed that the people behind McDonald's would consider Super Size Me to be a bit of
game was rigged from the start
of a PR disaster. But in reality, they considered it to be a massive PR disaster, and they were right to. The movie became a cause célèbre in America, with the public and media talking about the potential unhealthiness of McDonald's food. For the pending overseas release, McDonald's decided to be proactive, taking out ads in Britain's biggest newspapers refuting the documentary and its claims. But not all of its claims. In fact, what may
That had
surprise
Diddy in it?
The movie became a cause célèbre in America, with the public and media talking about the potential unhealthiness of McDonald's food. For the pending overseas release, McDonald's decided to be proactive, taking out ads in Britain's biggest newspaper.
Yes. Diddy, I'm a failure at love. Oh my god, this aged horribly.
Refuting the documentary and its claims, but not all of its claims. In fact, what may surprise you is that the ad contained the words, "What may surprise you is how much of the film we agree with."
Need to put
it
it
then
in
went
there
on to
with you.
acknowledge that Super Size Me did have some merit, agreeing with its core argument, that if you eat too much and do too little, it's bad for you. Yikes. They then went on to point out that Spurlock eats the amount of McDonald's food in 1 month that it would take an average consumer
What? He
6
needs the
years to
oil,
consume,
though.
making him absolutely nothing like a typical customer. And they weren't wrong. The question of personal responsibility often comes up in criticisms of Spurlock's film. In fact, Super Size Me never mentions how things like portion sizes or exercise factored into his results. That's a significant point, because Spurlock intentionally circumvented these things. He never sought to limit his intake at any given meal. In fact, part of the rules of his experiment required him to supersize anytime he was asked.
I think I'm gonna have to go supersize.
And he studiously avoided the kind of exercise that might have mitigated his weight gain, which is to say, he rigged the results. Or in other words, nutrition, while important, is only one element of a healthy lifestyle. However you feel about its message, Super Size Me is entertaining. Spurlock accompanies the serious points he's making with moments of humor and the use of pop songs to ironically accentuate certain ideas. And it all works. But it also obscures the fact the director was biased. And it wasn't an accidental bias either. Author Chuck Klosterman has pointed out it was a self-serving bias that likely arose because you could not sell a movie about eating fast food and feeling fine. Essentially, Spurlock set out to make a movie about how McDonald's was contributing to the obesity epidemic, and was never trying to make an impartial evaluation of including fast food in your diet. Everyone knows fast food isn't terribly healthy, but Super Size Me makes the situation seem downright alarming. While evaluating his progress at the end of the film, Spurlock's doctor tells him he has liver damage because fast food is pickling his liver.
The results for your liver are obscene beyond anything I would have thought.
Indeed, the suggestion that fast food could be harmful to a person's liver was one of the film's more eye-opening moments. The thing is, Spurlock was lying. Or rather, he was hiding something significant. At the beginning of the movie, he claims to be in good health and denies alcohol use to his doctor in his initial checkup.
Any alcohol use?
Now, none.
But in a 2017 social media post addressing sexual harassment allegations made against him, Spurlock wrote that he had been consistently drinking since the age of 13 and hadn't been sober for more than a week in 30 years. In other words, there's a reason his liver looks like that of a binge drinker. And it ain't Mickey D's. The damage to Spurlock's liver is much
Mickey
better
D's
explained by
nuts.
his excessive drinking than by eating any amount of McDonald's. An article in the Wall Street Journal also speculated that the physical shakes Spurlock is shown experiencing in the film might have been a symptom of alcohol withdrawal. You might recall hearing that Mickey D's was so freaked out about Spurlock's documentary that they ended their Supersize promotion permanently. While that has become part of the film's lore, like so much else about Super Size Me, it may not be entirely true. It is accurate that McDonald's scrapped supersized foods and drinks at the end of 2004, but the company denied it had anything to do with Spurlock's documentary, instead calling it an act of menu simplification. According to McDonald's, it's because supersized French fries were not an especially popular item. So while they didn't rule out bringing them back from time to time in special promotions, they felt it was time to phase them out. That being said, according to Bloomberg, McDonald's menu would only get more complicated in the years to come, ballooning from 60 to 145 items between 2007 and 2014. At the very least, that has to call the whole menu simplification rationale into question. It's also important to remember that the Golden Arches felt threatened enough by Spurlock's film to take out a full-page ad in the paper. So, much like Super Size Me, we should take McDonald's explanation with a grain of fry salt. So what do you think? Did you?
All right, guys. The time has come. Please, Miss Sapphire, hit us with that good old Rady boy. And to those who are on, VOD going to be up. Yes, there's 2 getting released. To the ones on YouTube that have made it this far, thank you so much very much for watching. If you are here, please considering dropping a subscribe. You're fucking making a baller over there. We got 14 of you sons of bitches at the moment. And I thank you very, very much for everything that you've done. And I hope that you enjoyed the cringy videos that I've been putting up. You know, it's been great. It's been great, you know. It's been great, you know. So, don't do anything I wouldn't do. Don't get slammered. And don't run your car into a ditch. Love you all. Take care. Laters.